Okay. Okay. So we have been studying Bhaja Govindam, which is a Prakarana Grantha by Adi Shankaracharya. Here, Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya is showing us what is the goal of a human being and how it can be reached also. And in Dwadasha Manjarika Stotram, that is the 12 verses composed by Adi Shankaracharya, in those he showed how we have made worldly things as our goal of our life, like secular knowledge, dhanam, and bhoga, all these things. And he shows all these are actually means to the goal, and they're not goals by themselves. There is only one goal, and that is self-realization. So one may ask me, you said dhanam and bhoga and knowledge, secular knowledge, and you are telling that they are the means for the goal. How can that be? So see, here we have to see dhanam, is wealth. Yes. If you have enough to live comfortably, your mind will be calm. Okay. So, and the secular knowledge gives you the job, gives you the money. So that is also a means for the reaching the goal also. And now if you take the bhoga, desires, okay, some has to be fulfilled. We are born with those vasanas. You just cannot say, no, I'm not going to fulfill any of my desires. It's not going to work. Okay, but we should know how much desires and how far we should go, that's all. So this way, secular knowledge, dhanam and bhoga, everything is also a means for our sadhya, the goal, which is realizing our own self. Guruji always used to say, whenever Raghuji used to give a check to him, he would always say, Raghu, keep enough for your life. You should never depend on your children or society, okay, for your living. Keep enough. And then you can write a will that after my death, everything goes where. And our Guruji was so practical. He always told us how to live this life properly. So dhanam is also important to live a peaceful life. You don't have to worry. Okay. Now, but he showed how we waste our precious time in hoarding these things, this dhanam and all those things. Okay, it is not just earning just enough to live properly. Okay, so this is, that's why he says, don't do that one, because your life, it is like a drop of water on a lotus leaf. You never know that when that water drop is going to fall down and lose its identity. Okay, so same way, we don't know when is our last breath. So he says, don't postpone it, and always keep the inquiry. What is this inquiry he gives in the Dwadasha Manjarika Stotram? Of course, there is one in the Chaturdasha Manjarika Stotram also, the same kind of questions. But here in this, where Adi Shankaracharya has written, he says, ask yourself these 5 questions all the time. And what was that? Kate kanta kaste putraha samsaroyama tiva vichitraha kasyatvam kaha kuta ayataha tattvam chintaya tadiha brataha. So in this, what are the 5 questions is, who is your wife? Who is your son? Of whom you are? Who are you? And from where you have come? Okay, so this is very important. So see, relationships are bound by people and time. So they don't have the capacity to give us the absolute happiness. If you want that absolute happiness, we must seek that absolute truth itself. For that, you need satsang. So, Adi Shankaracharya talked about Satsangatve, which leads to Jivan Mukti. So, in a spiritual path, it's very important to know what is our goal to reach sadhya, and also what are the means to reach that goal, sadhanas. But if we misunderstand what is our goal, then we will miss the path also. So he cautioned us also about not to have the pride, about our wealth, about our youth, about our fame, about the people around us and all that. Why? Because they are not permanent. They are not with you all the time. But be proud of that which is always with you. And that is Brahmapada. Then in the Chaturdasha Manjarika Stotram, where the 14 verses, the 14 disciples who were with Adi Shankaracharya at that time, they composed one verse each. Okay, so actually that is the one we are seeing. We are on the 13th verse of that is the Chaturdasha Manjarika. The next shloka is the last one in that one. And then we will see 4 verses that Adi Shankaracharya has composed as a blessing for the humanity. Okay. So, okay. In the Chaturdasha Manjarika Stotra, so one Acharya gave the description of a fake sannyasi. For the sake of the belly, how he takes the ochre clothes. And the other Acharya described how the Jivan Mukta lives in this world. And with or without, he is happy. He revels in the self. Yogaratova, Bhogaratova, Sangaratova, Sangavihinaha, Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam, Nandati Eva. So Swami Vivekananda ji says, "Oh yogi, you have colored your cloth, you have not colored your mind." Okay, so means become a monk internally. Color of the renunciation is important. That's all. It's not that you have to wear the ochre clothes, but you have to be that monk internally. That vairagya should be there. And in the last few verses, we have been seeing different sadhanas for abiding in the truth or the self or the consciousness. So in the previous class, in the previous verse, we saw Acharya telling us about not to waste time and energy in making and breaking relationships. Shatro mitre putre bando makuru yatnam vigraha sando. Okay, because that is not the purpose of our life. The purpose of our life is to see that oneness in all. Like space, the reality pervades in and through the whole cosmos. So give up this vision of difference. He said, Bheda Agnanam. Bheda is actually Agnanam. So see that one self that is present everywhere there. So it is like it is the same water that is present in each and every wave in the ocean. It doesn't depend on the size or the shape of the wave, but in the content of each and every wave is just the water. The same way here also, the for an ignorant person, there are the differences. This is a human being, this is a female, this is a man, this is a child, this is a dog, and things like that, differences. But for a wise person, he sees all are different from outside only, but there is that same consciousness that is running through each and every one. So now the question arises in our mind, how to see this self everywhere? Why is it that I'm not able to see? And only the Mahatmas, the wise people, they are able to see. See, the answer is very simple. See, whatever is our vision, whatever is our drishti, According to that only we can see. I am not able to see Paramatma in all because I have not seen him in myself itself. When my idea of myself is limited to the body, okay, I say I am this body, then whomever I see their body only. So the secret to see the oneness in all, first I must recognize that self in me first. If that is recognized, then I will be able to see the self in all. But all of a sudden, we ordinary mortals, we cannot flower into saints and sages. Until this mind is purified, vision of oneness never comes to us. We have to cleanse our mind by removing these undesirable tendencies, these negative tendencies that we have. So here Acharya says, no, recognize who are these internal enemies to us and give them up. So as an introduction to the next verse 26, Gurudev writes, the conditions under which the seeker reaches the state of God realization is painted here vividly by the author Bharati Vamsha. So this verse number 26 is attributed to one of the disciples of Adi Shankaracharya, and his name is Bharati Vamsha. So now let us see the verse number 26 now. Kamam krodham lobham moham. Kamam krodham lobham moham. Tyaktvatmanam pashyati soham. Tyaktvatmanam pashyati soham. Atmajnana muda. Atmajnana muda. Te pachyante narakanigoda. Te pachyante narakanigoda. Kamam krodham lobham moham tyaktvatmanam pashyati soham. Atmajnana vihina mudaha te pachyante narakanigoda. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. So here, Tyaktva. Tyaktva means renouncing, having given up. So what to give up? Kamam, Krodham, Lobham, Moham. Desire, anger, greed, and delusion. See, giving up all the negativities of the mind. Why? Because it keeps the mind restless. It's easy to say give up all of them, but it takes a lot of effort also. But by giving up, what happens? Atmanam pashyati. Sees the self as what? Soham. Saha aham, I am that. So practice the bhava. I am the same self everywhere. Means I'm not an individual, but I am that Satchidananda. I am that bliss. And I'm searching, what I'm searching for is actually me, myself. That is Saha Aham. Adi Shankaracharya in Nirvana Shatakam, he says, Shivoham. Shivoham. I am that auspiciousness. This is Jivan Mukti, and this is self-realization. One night, a guru was desperately searching for something on the street outside his small hut. And one of his pupils, one of his students, he was returning from his whatever the work he was supposed to do, and he saw his guru that looking for something. So he came to him and he asked him, Acharya, what are you looking for here on the street at this hour? Because it is night. The guru replied, I lost a needle. I'm looking for it. So the students also joined the guru in searching for that. After searching for some time, the student asked, can you try and recollect where exactly you might have lost the needle? The guru said, of course I remember. I dropped it near the bed in the hut. The student was, very astonished in this for the hearing this strange answer from his guru. So he said, Acharya, you say you lost it inside the house, but why are you looking it for that outside the hut? The guru, innocently replied, there is no oil in the lamp there. It is pitch dark inside the hut. And so I thought of searching for it outside where there is enough moonlight is there. So the student, he controlled his laughing, because he didn't wanted to say laugh in front of his guru, at his guru. So he said, if you lost your needle inside the house, how could you ever expect to find it outside? The guru just simply smiled back at the student, and the student got the message behind Acharya's puzzling act. Is not that what we are also doing? We run after, to faraway temples, climb the mountains in search of God. But that God is actually inside us only. We have not lost him. We don't have to search outside. We have to search inside. So, but why we are not able to find that God inside? Because our heart is pitch dark. It is full of what you call ignorance. There is no knowledge. Knowledge is light. So light the lamp inside you and find your lost treasure right there in your heart. So pashyati, he sees, means he recognizes the self that is already there. It is not that you gain liberation. If you gain, you are going to lose it. It is not that you create consciousness, because whatever is created, it will also come to an end. Creating is an action. And Ramana Maharshi says, karma kim param, karma tajjadam. Karma is inert. And how can that be supreme? So you cannot create with action. Now, why do we call Satchidananda as auspicious? Because it has no taint of any sorrow. What has sorrow, we call it as inauspicious. So giving up the desire, anger, and delusion, the wise man does the Atma, Anatma, Viveka, that is Vichara, and comes to see his own Atma in his own self as Satchit Ananda. And I'm not this body, but I am that self. Someone asked Akhandananda Maharaj, you teach Advaita and you teach Bhagavatam also. Are you an Advaitin or are you a Vishishta Advaitin? So Akhandananda Maharaj, she replied, I am Advaita. All these isms that are there, they go only with ahankara, ego. I am not the knower of the truth, but I am the truth itself. So one who understands the truth this way, that person alone is free from all kinds of bondages. But what about those who do not see the Atma? Those who are ignorant people. So Acharya says, Atma Jnana Vihina Mudaha. So here the definition of a Muda is given. And what is that? Those who do not have the self-knowledge, they are called ignorant people, foolish people, Mudaha. So in Vedanta, when we say a person is ignorant, it doesn't mean he is an illiterate person. In Vedanta, when you call an ignorant, that means he does not have the knowledge of the self. Self-knowledge is not there. He might have lots of degrees, lots of doctorates and everything in this, and he has lots of secular knowledge. Okay, but when he doesn't have the self-knowledge, he is known as an ignorant person in Vedanta. And what is the fate of these ignorant people? So Acharya says here, te pachyante naraka nigudaha. They as nigudaha, as captive, where in hell, and what they are done? They pachyante, they are cooked very well. Crunchy. Okay. So do you want to get cooked in hell, or do you want to be liberated in this life itself? So if you want to get liberated right in this life only, then what you should do? Kamam, krodam, lobam, moham, tyaktva. Give up these things. See, in Sri Ramcharitmanas, Sugriva tells Sri Ramchandraji, if one has gone beyond all this kama, krodha, lobha, and moha, then he is not a man. He is you only. He is God only. Lord Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Trividam narakasyedam dwaram nashanam atmanaha kama krodhas tatha lobaha tasmat yetat trayam tyajet. So there are 3 gates to hell. Okay. And what are those? Are the lust, anger, and greed. Therefore, tyajet. All these 3 one should abandon. One should give up. One person asked Guruji, there are 3 gates to hell. How many gates are there for heaven? So Guruji said there is only 1 gate to heaven because there is no rush there. Only to hell, you need 3 gates to control the crowd. Guruji used to chant a shloka. I don't remember that shloka, but I know the meaning of that one. So he used to say, people want to earn punya, but they don't do any satkarmas. And they don't want to accumulate papas, but they don't stop doing papa karmas. That's why there is such a rush in to go to hell. Okay, so to give up this one vice, here they are given 4, kama, krodha, lobha, moha. It is so hard to give up even just one of them. Then how to give up all the 4? I don't think I can do it. That means I will be in hell only. This may be our thought. But Guruji says, don't despair. Think properly. Remember, previous verses we saw vichara, inquiry is so important. So he gives an example. Guruji gives an example. He says, say you want to take up a project, and the estimated cost of the project is, say, about 5 million. Then you will say, my God, this costs so much. I don't have that much money. So it is better to forget about this project. Especially, if it is a good project that will help lots of people also. Still, we say, well, I don't have the funds, so I'm not going to do it. But what Guruji says is, think. When you start the project, right on that first day, do you need that 5 million? You don't. So start with little bit. And then when the project starts coming up, then people look at it. You can raise the funds for that. And you can see the other sources where you can raise the funds also. So if you start breaking down, then you feel, okay, it is manageable. But if you see the big figure, you will get frightened. Same way here also. When you hear that give up all these four, kama, krodha, lobha, and moha, then you feel it is not possible for me to do it at all. But on enquiry, you find there are not actually four. There is only one that takes the shape of the others. So it is the desire that takes the form of anger, greed, and delusion. So 4 is reduced to 1, kama, desire. And kama is the leader. And the rest of it is his retinue, what you call Maya Parivara. So what is this kama then? What is this desire? But first, let us see what is not desire. Adi Shankaracharya, in one place he says, anything that you need to keep this body healthy and going, okay, like food, the shelter and all that, that is not considered as desire. They are actually the necessities of life. So we don't want to say, oh, I don't want to wear clothes. I want to be naked, because that is a desire if I want to wear a... No, he says to keep this body healthy, physically and mentally, whatever the things you need to do those things. And those are not the desires. Those are the necessities of the life here. But then what is desire? Desire is a selfishness. It is an extroverted mind. That is desire. So in simple terms, desire is something that I want. It can be an object. It can be just a thought. It can be a person. It can be an experience, or even a particular state of mind that I want to reach. Okay. So, or even I want to become something. All these are desires. So desires have different textures and the qualities also. So having a desire, what does it mean? That means I'm not happy as I am. I'll be happy if only if I get this, or become this, or reach this. Right now, I feel incomplete. I feel unfulfilled. So in other words, desire is actually is my dependence on one thing or the other. So the thought is the... So what I was trying to say is, so when the thought is, when I say that I want, that means I will be happy if I get that one. So what is the opposite? If I don't get that, I'll be very unhappy. So, and if somebody puts an obstacle, okay, and creates a obstacle in me getting that desire fulfilled, what happens? I get angry at that person, or angry about any situations that has come as an obstacle. Any obstacles, I get angry at that time. But say you don't have any desires, okay, then there is no anger, there is no sorrow, and there is no reaction of anger also. Even if the desire is weak, okay, it's not very strong, then also you don't get angry. What when I say weak, okay, a desire comes to our mind. Say my favorite example, I want to eat ice cream, right? But if it is a strong desire, I will take my car keys, I will drive to the ice cream shop, and I will get it. But if it is a weak desire, I said, yeah, I used to enjoy ice cream before, so it's okay. I don't have to go now. So I let it go. That is a weak desire. It doesn't mean desires don't come to us. It does come. Okay. How we handle it, how strong it is, that is the thing that makes the difference here. So, coming back to this verse, if the desire is fulfilled, then what happens? Lobha. There is greed. I want more and more. The nature of the greed is, why should I be satisfied with little? I want more. I can get it. I want more. That is greed. The best example is the Maya of gambling. You win a little and you get hooked onto gambling. Slot machines, one who has played those, they know what it is. What is gambling? Goswami Tulsidas ji says, greed is like kapha, the phlegm. We cough to get it out, the phlegm. But we keep on coughing because we want to get more and more of phlegm out. That is, it's a different way of giving the example for greed. But what he's showing is, we are not satisfied with one cough. We keep on coughing there. So greed can be not just for the wealth, it could be for power, pleasure, and even comforts. Guruji says, you were very happy sleeping on the floor, but somebody gave you a pillow and a bed. And now you started sleeping on the bed. Now you want a comfortable bed. Okay, so greed is like that. I want better, better, more, and more. Look at Ravana. Ravana had everything. His Lanka was made out of gold. And he had that Pushpaka Vimana. He could go wherever he wanted to go. And he had his beautiful wife, Mandodari, a sadhvi, very wise, very beautiful. And he had everything. And not only that, okay, he also had the power, the position, the wealth, and also it is said he was very handsome also. And he had all the knowledge also, book knowledge. In spite of everything, he kidnaps Sita ji. That is lobha. That is greed. And when one becomes successful in doing a thing, then he starts feeling, oh, I can do anything. Whatever I like, I can get it. So there is no satisfaction. There is no contentment. You must have heard the story of 99 Club, right? So like that, the king saw this his servant working in the garden, a poor servant, and singing songs and cutting the pruning the plants, watering and all that. And the king felt, look, he hardly has anything to live. He's so happy. And look at me, I have everything and I'm not happy. So he told the minister, how come he is so happy? I'm not so happy. Oh, the minister just smiled and he said, because he has not joined the 99 Club yet. So he said, don't worry, I will take care of it. So the minister, in the night, he took a bag of gold coins and there he put 99 gold coins in that and left it at the front entrance of this poor servant. In the morning, the servant saw this little small bag with the coins. He was so happy. He said, oh, Bhagavan has kept this for me. And he counted, there were 99 coins. He said, I don't think God makes a mistake. There has to be 100. Who will give 99? So he counted again and again and again. There were only 99 coins. Then he said, I have to make that into 100 coins. Now he started working harder and harder and harder so that he can earn extra money over time. And he stopped singing. So always very irritated. When can I make that one extra gold coin? And the king saw that, and what happened? He asked the minister, what happened to him? He was so happy. He said, oh, Highness, he just joined the 99 Club. So that is, if you don't have contentment, there is no way you're going to be happy. So the desire takes the shape of anger if it is not fulfilled. And if it is fulfilled, then it takes the shape of greed. Next, it is moha, delusion. What is delusion? Delusion is lack of right knowledge. It is mistaking not real for the real and the real for the not real there. In Vinaya Patrika, Goswami Tulsidas ji says, Ravana Moha Dasa Mauli. That means Ravana is Moha appearing in 10 facets. So he was so proud that he lifted Mount Kailas when Lord Shiva and Parvati were still sitting on that. And that is moha, that is delusion. Did he ever think where he got that strength from? So that is delusion. So with anger and greed, there is delusion. When anger is there, you don't see who is in front of you. Whether it is you are talking to your mother, father, or guru, okay, you just say things which should not be spoken at all. You lose your discriminating power when you are angry. Angry people actually cannot listen because their anger is so loud. They have become deaf. When one is angry, he shouts a lot. Even though the person who is standing very next to him and he is angry with that person, he still starts shouting. Because in his mind, he has thrown away that person. He doesn't exist in front of him in his mind. Whereas two people who are in love, they whisper. It's not because they are sitting next to each other. It is because their hearts have become one in love. Swami Ishwaranandaji jokingly says, before marriage, he was talking and she was listening. After marriage, she was talking and he was listening. When the children were born, both he and she were shouting and the children were listening. And after some time, all were shouting, the neighbors were listening. So, Ishwaranandaji is very good in those jokes. Anyway, Kama, Krodha, and Lobha. These are the three negative notions that actually has a great impact on our mind, and that leads to moha. That is delusion. Kama, Krodha, and greed. Okay, that leads to moha, where we forget who we are, where we are, what we are. Everything is forgotten there. But when you see the oneness, where is this delusion? That is what said in Ishavasya Upanishad. It says, Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhut vijanataha tatra ko moha kashoka ekatvam anupashyata. Where you see that oneness, okay, where is that moha? Where is that shoka? There is no delusion when you see the oneness of Yasmin Sarvani Bhutani, in all the beings. So this is the reason Mahatmas love everybody equally, because they don't see the difference. They have this Abheda Gnana. Most of us are familiar with this ladder of fall in Bhagavad Gita, right? And I'm not going to go into detail about that, but I will just chant those shlokas and read the meanings of those words. Okay? Dhyayato vishan pumsa sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vichayate. So, while brooding over on the objects of the senses, one develops attachment, sangha, to them. And that attachment leads to desire, kama. And from that desire arises the anger when it is obstructed. Krodhat bhavati sammohaha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha, smriti bhramsha buddhinashaha, buddhinashat pranashyati. So, anger leads to sammoha, this clouding of the judgment. And that results in loss of memory, smriti vibhramaha. And when memory is lost, the intellect, buddhinasha, gets destroyed. And with that destruction of intellect, what happens? That person is ruined. Buddhinashat pranashyati. He is destroyed. So here we see desire is not created by perception, by seeing. We go to a mall, we go somewhere, you go to even the grocery store. We see so many things. Okay, we don't develop desire for every one of them, thank God. And we might see one or two, that we might like, and we might not even buy that one. But if we start brooding, keep thinking about them, what happens? Then the desire becomes strong. It becomes like a real desire, not a weak desire. So you see, desire is created by brooding over a thing, but not by seeing a thing. So how not to brood over them? So replace that sangha, okay, that brooding, with satsanga. And that satsanga will give the purity of the mind. If we can develop love for Bhagavan with satsanga. But if this desire for self-knowledge is not there, then what happens? Acharya says, te pachyante naraka nikudaha. They suffer in hell. See, a person who is not desirous of self-knowledge, okay, then he is not going to pursue that also. Then what happens to him? He will be just roaming in this world of objects, suffering and persecuted by his desires and the forms of the desire, like anger, the delusion, greed, and everything. And that person who is not interested in self-knowledge and not interested in liberation, then he gets lost in this world, entangled in for eternity in the hell. What does it mean? He is stuck in birth and death forever. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. So when it is said hell, a question comes, is there a place called hell? Has anyone gone and come back to tell us what it was? No. But our Puranas talks about it. Garuda Purana describes the hell also. And there are 7 lokas below the earth, and the lowest one is Patala. And it is said that's where there are different kinds of hells in that place. And one of them is known as Kumbhipaka. And that is where Pachyante Naraka Nikudaha. They, ignorant people and who have done the sins and all that, they have kept captive and they are cooked well, Pachyante. So there are so many descriptions in the Garuda Purana, how the cooking is done, where the salt is put and where is the, other spices are put and all those things. So we are not going to go into detail. But we can say hell need not be a place to go and suffer, because suffering is due to intense anger. You suffer. You suffer when you have the intense desire. You suffer when there is intense greed. That means you are already in hell. Because your mind is not calm, it is completely restless. One devotee asked Gurudev, Gurudev, I'm so much afraid of the hell. And I read the Garuda Purana, and Garuda Purana describes all these things there. And I'm really worried. And he went on and on and on. And what was Gurudev's answer? He said, my dear, don't worry. You will not go to hell because you are already in hell. So Gurudev used to say, you are punished not for your sins, but by your sins. So you don't have to wait for Naraka, because here and now itself, your mind gets disturbed, and that is hell only. One Swamiji, who has the knowledge of Kundalini Yoga, he said, getting locked up in the Mooladhara Chakra is body identification. And getting locked up in the Swadhisthana Chakra is coming under the influence of desires. And getting locked up in the Manipura Chakra is coming under the influence of greed. So if we are living in the lower chakras, that means we are in hell only. And when we rise above the Manipura Chakra to Anahata Chakra, then the seeking starts. The seeker is Bharat. But if you are lost only in Kama, Krodha, Lobha, and Moha, there is no place for spiritual evolution. Most of you know all the 7 chakras that we have, but I will just mention the names of it. Mooladhara is the first one, that is the base of the spine. Swadhisthana is in the lower abdomen. And Manipura is between navel and below the rib cage. So these are the 3 things which keeps us in the world of the desire and the greed, all these things. Anahata is the heart chakra. And so when Swamiji says, when you go above the Manipura, the first one is Anahata, that is heart chakra, where you develop love. And then comes the throat, Vishuddha chakra. And there is that acceptance of everyone. And then the knowledge chakra, Agnya chakra, that is between the eyebrows. And when you work on these chakras above the Manipura, then is the last one that you reach is Sahasrara. That is the crown, where you are free from illusion. So I don't want to go into Kundalini Yoga. I don't know anything about that one. I just mentioned it because one of the Swamijis talked about these things here. So here, coming back here, so therefore, Atma Gnana Vihina Mudaha, the person, who doesn't have the Atma Gnana, self-knowledge, he is a foolish person. So te pachante naraka nikudaha. They get cooked in the naraka. Then what one should do then? So that is what the Acharya here, Bharati Vamsha, he says in the second pada, Tyatvatmanam pashyati soham. So give up the desire, anger, tyaktva, okay, greed and delusion, then pashyati soham. Then that person will be able to see that self as what? Saha aham. I am that consciousness. I am that self here. So here, absence of desire is peace, right? Same way, absence of anger is also peace. Absence of greed is also peace. And absence of delusion is also peace. But peace is not an absence. That which is in the absence, that is the eternal presence. Absence of light is darkness. Similarly, absence of desire is peace. That which is supporting the absence is beyond presence and absence. It's like a riddle for you all, right? Because, so many absence and presence and all these things. Okay, let me explain to you what I meant with this one. Say, in waking state, we all know there is no dream state. But in the dream state, there is no waking state. Same way, in waking state, there is no deep sleep state. And in deep sleep state, there is no waking and there is no dream state also. But in and through all these states coming and going, their presence and absence, there is one common denominator, right? And that is the consciousness, which is beyond the presence and the absence. That is the truth. That is the consciousness. Same way, when we rise above all these modifications of the mind, that is desire, anger, greed, delusion, you don't disappear. You still continue to be there. So that which is present in the absence of everything, that is truth. And that is you. So tyaktva, by giving up, what happens? Atmanam pashyati. Atma is seen as soham. I am that. It's not that you worship the Lord and become Him. When you remove the obstacles, that is kama, krodha, and lobha, and moha, the layers that are covering, then you experience as saha aham. So to engage in a self-enquiry, to see who I am, that is very important. Ramana Maharshi puts this essence of self-enquiry in 3 words. Naham deham, koham, soham. Naham deham, I'm not the body. Koham, then who are you? Soham, I am that. So the journey from Jiva to Paramatma, okay, that journey can be taken only by us who is interested in liberation. Nobody else can do it for you. I will stop here. I want to read a couple of paragraphs that Gurudev has written, and then we will finish this shloka in the next class, and then we will see the 14th verse, that is the last verse of Chaturdasha Manjarika Stotram that was given out by the disciples of Adi Shankaracharya. Okay? Thank you. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om, everybody. Hari Om.
Hari Om Gita. Hari Om.
Thank you,
Hari Om,
Gita
Gita.
ji.